Appreciate it. Here to weigh in on Ms. Pelosi's Taiwan visit, we're joined by national security and terrorism expert and senior counsel at the Lawfare Project, Gerard Filitti. Gerard, let me ask you first and foremost about when a country summons the U.S. ambassador to them, how does that play out? What's the danger there?
Well, first, thank you for having me. When the ambassador is summoned, it's a way to convey a high-level message of displeasure that the United States government is doing something that the government of China does not approve of, it does not appreciate. It's essentially a scolding. It's being called to the principal's office to be told that what you're doing is inappropriate. That's the gist of it. We've had messages like this conveyed in the past from other countries, and we have conveyed them ourselves. Alone, it's not all that significant, and it's also not unexpected. China has consistently maintained that there is only one China, and Taiwan is a wayward province that belongs to it and needs to be reintegrated into the whole. And what we expect the ambassador to be told is precisely that America is meddling in internal Chinese affairs.
Yeah, Gerard, should we be concerned that Speaker Pelosi actually also tweeted today that we very much support Taiwan's democracy? Are those dangerous words that she used?
I don't know that they're dangerous. I think in many ways they're a very accurate reflection of American values, that we do support democracy against totalitarian regimes. We don't support human rights violations such as those by the Chinese government, but we stand with allies who are democratically elected and have a democratic system of governance. China will inevitably see this as a provocation. They already have. But the weight of Pelosi's words is it's fair to say that we have heard these words before from both sides of the aisle. We've heard these from Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio just a few short years ago. And this is consistent with America's position that we stand by our democratic allies.
Wouldn't that be perceived potentially as different from than Kirby saying yesterday that we 100% support the one China?
The inconsistency is an interpretation. Okay. We see the one China policy as if the People's Republic of China wants to reintegrate Taiwan, it has to do so in a peaceful way. It needs to convince the Taiwanese to rejoin the mainland. China sees the one China policy as a de facto state where they demand obedience from Taiwan, and they will not adhere to any international standard that deviates from that. So we do agree that there is one China, but how we get to that one China is where there's dispute. The Chinese think they can do it by force and by compelling the Taiwanese to rejoin, but our democratic system requires more of a courtship, requires adherence to international law and norms.
I guess one of the things I worry about is that even though they've been direct in their challenges to the United States in this trip, what if they take actions against Taiwan after she leaves, which is a little different than attacking us directly, but it's always been that strategic ambiguity whether we would respond if Taiwan did have to deal with an attack.
That's correct. Ever since the Taiwan Relations Act was passed in 1979, decisions about the nature, the quantity, and the quality of the defense services that we provide to Taiwan is something that's determined by the president and Congress. In this case, President Biden and Nancy Pelosi effectively would have to have a discussion on what sort of aid, if any, we would give to Taiwan. And I think we've seen both from Joe Biden and from Nancy Pelosi that there is support for Taiwan, and China should not misconstrue that we will be there to support our ally. Unfortunately, we have had missteps that this administration has had along the way, even with Russia recently invading the Ukraine. So I think this builds into why China is acting so aggressively at this point. They see a potential for U.S. weakness based on the 2 years of inept policy, and they see this as an opportunity to flex their muscle. But Pelosi and Biden together can determine that we will defend Taiwan to the utmost of our ability.
Gerard, we also want to get your expertise on the killing of Chief Al-Qaeda terrorist Al-Zawahiri, credited with planning 9/11, one of many. He was killed in a CIA-led drone strike yesterday in Afghanistan. President Biden has been very proud of that, but you are a terrorism expert. Do you think that we should be bracing for retaliation?
I think that we have seen in the past that whenever a terrorist leader is killed, there is a sense of martyrdom which inspires followers to seek to plan new acts of attack or of aggression against people in retaliation. So we should be on higher alert than ever before, at least since Osama bin Laden was killed 10 years ago. And we need to be mindful that when we take out a terrorist leader, his followers will want retaliation.
Fair enough. Thank you very much, Gerard. We appreciate your thoughts, sir.